Invited to welcome you in this congress, in this conference, and on behalf of the Ministry of Culture and the General Directorate of Antiquities and Cultural Heritage, I would like to welcome you and tell you a few words that I feel that a new period, first of all, a new period in our lives has started after this pandemic crisis of 2 years. So we have to be all happy that we are here, healthy, and we have the power to continue. Second, I feel that with this conference, with this congress, a new period in archaeology has started. And I have great curiosity and anxiety to hear all the papers today about these new steps in archaeology and how we can use it generally in our research. Thank you for inviting me. I wish you to have a good day today, and for those who are not Greeks, to have a pleasant stay here. And welcome, and I would like to pass the floor to the organizers to hear all these interesting communications. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Valeni. It's an honor to have you here with us today. So I would like to welcome the first speaker, is Dr. Architis Kameas. He's the Professor of Pervasive Computing Systems at Hellenic Open University. He serves as a Deputy Dean of the School of Science and Technology, member of the board of HEV Lifelong Learning Center, and director of the HEV Internal Evaluation Unit, and for the postgraduate course, of course. And he's the scientific coordinator at the Computer Technology Institute. Of course, I would like to mention here that the event is live streamed through the YouTube channel in YouTube. Daisy?
Okay, so good morning, everyone, and thanks for being here with us today. We're organizing the final event of the Delta project in this very nice venue in Athens. We have prepared a nice program for you. We hope you like it. In the first section, we will present you the outcomes of the Delta project, and then in the second section, in the afternoon session as well, we have included very interesting talks regarding the digital transformation of archaeology. So the topic today here combines archaeology on one hand, but then the role of digital technologies and how they transform the education and the competencies that archaeologists need to acquire. I would like to welcome you on behalf of the Managing Board of Hellenic Open University, and thank you for being here with us. I am going to give a short presentation of our research group at the Hellenic Open University, and then I will provide an overview of the Delta project. So, the group that has coordinated the project, that is now organizing this event, is the DAISY Research Group of Hellenic Open University. Hellenic Open University is one of the Greek higher education institutes, one of the Greek universities, but is the only one that offers lifelong education to adult learners who study from a distance. We have founded a research group in Hellenic Open University called DAISY, Dynamic Ambient Intelligent and Socio-Technical Systems, since 20 years now. And we've been implementing activities mainly in the context of European and national research projects, trying to realize our vision, which is to contribute to the realization of a technologically advanced society by providing technological solutions to problems that the society faces and helping people to overcome these problems, mainly by enhancing their competences in using new technologies. We are a distributed multi-regional group. We have subgroups in Patras, where is the headquarters of Hellenic Open University, but also in Athens, in Larissa, and Ioannina, and other Greek cities. Today, we're a group of more than 60 people, and we implement around 40 projects this period. In total, we have participated in more than 90 projects. Our expertise is mainly in education and training and learning. Since we are a group coming from a university, we address all levels of education, plus of formal education, plus non-formal education, lifelong learning, also very much upskilling and reskilling. We do this by developing educational technologies, mainly MOOCs, learning platforms, blended courses, supporting communities of practice, developing games, apps, and so on. Also self-assessment tools for competencies. And we take very much seriously into account different societal dimensions that we try to support. As I said, we like to call ourselves a research group that is close to society, trying to listen to the society's needs. So we provide online education, but then field learning, STEAM and STEM education, citizen science, education and citizenship, intergenerational learning, inclusion is very much important for us, and so on. We focus on the development of competencies, all kinds of competencies, mostly digital, but also entrepreneurial, green, life, sales, STEAM, IT. We apply the European competence frameworks in each of these sectors, and also we have a technologically advanced aspect that deals with smart systems and smart environments, especially smart cities. One of the main activities of our group is the development of MOOCs. This is what we did also here for Delta. We have our own MOOC platform, and we develop MOOCs for different topics. We provide the platform, the content, the interaction, the user management, the evaluation, everything that comes with MOOC, the tutoring also. Here you can see some of the topics, but also we develop learning platforms and community and peer learning platforms. That's a different environment that we have developed. Again, providing all the necessary learning services. Other outcomes that we have developed for STEAM educators together with self-assessment tool and so on. So you see that our activity is versatile. Okay, I will speak this. Of course, we collaborate with all stakeholders. We are members of European networks, like the European Association of Distance Teaching Universities, in which we participate in the Task for Diversity and Inclusion, European University Association, EURAS, all digital European network, the PVP network of European Network of Web Providers, the IT Professionalism in Europe network, and other associations, committees, and working groups. Here is a map of our projects, and in this map, I would like to ask you to focus on the different areas of our activity. Education and quality is a very important area for us. Then the development of competencies, digital, other kind of competencies, many projects of multiculturalism and inclusion, and then pure projects in sectors like cultural sectors, STEAM education, entrepreneurship, tourism, media literacy, and so on. So that's an overview of our projects and activities. Okay, and here are our contact points, our website, our MOOC platform and e-learning platform, our own YouTube channel, and our social media where you can find and follow our activity. That was a panorama of DAISY, the research group behind this. That was a partner of coordinator of the Delta project, and now I will give you an overview of this project.
Συνεχίσουμε.
Κάνω share στο Zoom.
Πατήστε ένα escape.
Give us a moment because we are connecting via Zoom with remote participants. Okay, so we are here today to talk about the Delta project. Delta stands for Digital Excavation through Learning and Training in Archaeology. This is an Erasmus Plus project that will finish at the end of the month. It has been running for 33 months. So throughout the pandemic era, we were busy implementing this very, very interesting and exciting project. That project has been coordinated by the DAISY Research Group of Hellenic Open University with a list of partners that we became friends in the course of the project, and we were very proud and happy to work with them. The Department of History and Archaeology of the University of Athens, the National and Kapodistria University of Athens, the Postgraduate School of Archaeology of the University of Basilicata, and the Department of Archaeology and Museology from Masaryk University from Czech Republic, the University of Basilicata from Italy. And I'm really happy that our colleagues are here today with us, and they will give you presentations on specific topics and outcomes of the project throughout the day. The aim of Delta was to integrate the physical space of an archaeological excavation into the digital space of online learning. We wanted to bring together the site with the students and make the archaeological excavation site an instrument for learning. So the project addressed mainly the needs of the students of archaeology, university students of archaeology, and through its outcomes, we helped them, at least we tried, to help them develop new skills, new competencies, and update the existing knowledge and skills that they were receiving already or had received already through their university studies. The project created a list of very interesting outcomes, and first of all, there was a nice report on the training needs of students in digital archaeology that you can also find online. Then we developed the online platform of the project, and we uploaded digital training material in the platform, and based on that, we formed a blended course on digital excavation, which contained 4 modules. Then we developed the training handbook that goes together with the course, and following our dissemination and activities and networking activities, more than 1,000 people became aware of this project and its results. More than 100 students participated in the training and successfully completed the training course. We organized events and workshops in this final international conference. And last but not least, we produced a set of recommendations for the modernization of excavation practice and education that uses the excavation as a learning tool. As I said, the first and one of the most important outcomes of the project is the report on training students in the use of digital technologies in archaeology, which you can find online in the website of the project. And this is an innovative report, probably the first of its kind that has been produced, that was based on an extensive desk research and field needs analysis. And its contents revolve around 2 axes. The first is to provide a mapping of the current situation, mainly in the 3 participating countries, of course, containing the higher education courses on excavation methods and techniques offered in the countries, and then the use of digital applications in archaeological excavations, and finally the use of digital educational tools and courses about the excavation practice. And then the second axis records the expectation and desires of students and the professionals of archaeology concerning the use of digital tools and applications in archaeological excavations and the courses on excavations, practices, and methods. So we mapped what is there and what people would like to see, what their needs are and what they would like to have, and try to find the gap. Some of the results contained in the report that you will hear in more detail later show the frequency of digital tools used in education, which kind of tools archaeologists usually use in their education, then the digital skills that are needed by archaeologists, and finally, the set of courses offered. Then another important outcome is the blended course that we developed in the context of the project. As I said, our aim was to integrate the excavation site as an instructional tool in the classroom-based instruction of archaeologists by using digital means, and then we developed this course that contains 4 modules: digital tools for archaeological practice and excavation, documentation in situ and after excavation, digital preservation of cultural heritage monuments and artifacts, and open-air museums and experimental archaeology. We delivered the course via blended learning, so using the platform but also face-to-face instruction. And then after the course, selected students from each partner country, from each partner university, with, of course, the supervision of their professors, were trained in situ, came to visit the excavation that the National Campodistria University of Athens is doing in Marathon, and spent some days there working together in an international environment. To support the course, we developed an online platform, and we delivered the course via the platform. So it's one of the DAISY MOOCs, and we developed different kinds of interactive content, video-based streaming content, video-based content, the modules that can be easily accessible, discussion forums, learning outcomes about the modules, and units within the modules. You will hear more about it later. If you want to find out more about this project, you can find here the website and the different social media that we have been maintaining and will keep maintaining after the end of the project. I wanted to say that we delivered the course already twice during the project, and we will deliver it again and again as long as there is demand for this course. Thank you for your attention. I wish you a nice and pleasant and exciting conference, and we are happy to have you here with us today.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Kamans. Introducing us to the Delta course for those who are not aware of it. Now, the second presentation will be made by me. I will tell you more about what the digital excavation course was about, and show you a little bit a preview from the Delta platform that DAISY research group of the Hellenic Open University designed and developed especially for the project. So, on to the presentation.
Okay. While my colleague Panagiotta is preparing the presentation, I would like to say, first of all, to thank her for her role in the project, her key role in the project. Panagiotta Polymeropoulou is a senior researcher with our group of the DAISY Research Group of Hellenic Open University in EU-funded research and development projects. She's a graduate of the National Campodistria University of Athens with a degree in archaeology and history. Art and holds a Master of Science with honors in Cultural Informatics and Communication with specialization in museology from the University of the Aegean. Panagiotta has been awarded with a scholarship from the State Scholarship Foundation for postgraduate studies in museology. Now, she's a PhD student at the Department of Management Science and Technology of the University of Patras, and she has been adjunct faculty during 2012-2014 at the Technological Education Institute of Western Greece, teaching cultural heritage and museology. And also, she has worked as an archaeologist in the Service of Antiquities in ARCHAEOLOGY, Prefecture of Greece and Localmania, of the Hellenic Ministry of Culture and Sports. So, Panagiotta, please tell us more about the Delta course.
Hello, thank you very much, Hilas. So as I said previously, I will show you about the digital excavation course that the partners all designed, developed, and the Delta platform. So the first course that we designed was the blended course. As you see here, its module was opening in the platform every 3 weeks. So we had the first module on 10th of May starting previously in the last year, then module 2 on the 31st of May, module 3 on the 21st of June, and then module 4 on the 12th of July 2021. The Delta course was developed by the Delta project partner. It consists of 4 main modules. It was mandatory for all the students to go after these modules. You will see here the title of the modules, and later on in this conference, you will hear in detail about the content of each module. So the first, just reading the titles you see, is the digital tools for archaeological practice excavation, documentation in situ and after excavation, digital preservation of cultural heritage monuments and artifacts, and last, the open-air museums and experimental archaeology. So the course was a blended course, meaning that it was provided for 2,000 hours blended, meaning we had the online course that the student had to go through the platform and then attend some face-to-face activities with sessions with the tutors. And then the most successful selected learners will be able to take part in the intensive study program of the joint excavation and blasting. This year, since the project ends now at the end of June, and before finishing the project, after the very high demand of people that would like to attend again the course or open the course, even for those who are not students of archaeology, but also professionals and maybe people that are interested about this project, we opened again the course. But we provided only the online part, not the face-to-face nor the ISP. So the course is still running, is open in the platform. And now, of course, you see here the first day that we said that it was the final, that we gave some extensions, so for people to have a little bit more time to finish the quizzes and finalize the course. So as you see here, again, we kept titles, that we had 4 modules again, but we minimized the hours, it was 100 hours online, and providing 4 ECTS. The first module, Digital Tools of Archaeological Practice and Excavation, was designed and developed by Masaryk University. Each partner, just to say here that each partner was responsible for each module. So we start with module 1, it was an introductory module on the platform, and it was provided by Masaryk University. The topics, as you see, were more technological tools and technology, software or programs that the archaeologists should be aware of in order to practice and apply for their job in the documentation of the artifacts and the monuments. The second module, documentation in situ and after excavation, was designed and developed by the National Kapodistrian University of Athens, the partners, all these are partners of the project. And you see here that we go to the second module with the digital documentation, which is very, very important while you do an excavation and afterwards, after the excavation, how to fill in some very interesting collection forms, very important collection forms digitally, how to create them and how to apply and create a database. So another topic was, of course, the databases, the GIS, in order for archaeologists to be able to analyze and interpret the excavation data. The third module, Digital Preservation and Presentation of Cultural Heritage, Monuments and Artifacts, was designed and developed by University of Basilicata. You see here that we go with the software programs like databases, KAD, GIS, GPS, Photogrammetry is also very important for the archaeologists. 3D imaging printing, VR techniques like virtual reality, augmented reality, some more future techniques that also as these technologies that evolving, also archaeologists can use. The fourth module, Open Air Museums and Experimental Archaeology, was designed and developed by the Hellenic Open University with the DAISY Research Group. Here we wanted to give a more museological, let's say, approach to the course, where we provided and gave the term of what is open air museums, what is experimental archaeology, why is important experimental archaeology, not only for the archaeologists, and how they could convey, how they can interpret, how they can transfer the message and the information, or how they can tell the story even to the public that they address. Here is a very nice picture that we took at the University of Athens excavation at Platzi Marathon. Is one of the days that we had there. We had 5 days activities, group activities with selected learners by coming from Italy, from Czech Republic, and from Greece. We will hear we have a special session, so to hear what the students have to say about the ISP program. It was a nice experience, I think, and they will be in this program. It was a very intensive 5 days program, but we wanted to give them the possibility to know each other, to work with and collaborate with the professors. You see here the professor from the University of Basilicata, Pastoral University, us, some were here, and of course the learners. So what was about the digital course? The digital course in the Delta project contained these specific objects. So we have the core material that the learners had to take. It was mandatory for all. Then we had the additional material, meaning extra resources that there will be additional material they could use, like videos, papers, they could download in order to further reading and further enhance the knowledge. Then we had the collaboration materials, meaning the forum. Each module had its own forum. And then the assessment. There were self-assessment quizzes, and I will show you later on what we mean. Self-assessment quizzes that the learner will be able, after each module, to know if he did well, if he succeeded, and of course, go on with the next module. Here is the link that you can find the Delta course. Here is the link, the muxiti.gr is the platform that, as you can see, we have there all the courses that we develop as DAISY Research Group. You can see courses by other projects. Delta is on the first line. The platform was developed in a Moodle type, meaning that it's massive, it's accessible, it's open for all, it's a very open access tool. And here is the first page that somebody can visit when he enters the homepage of the link that I showed you earlier. Since we have now the 2 courses, for the past learner will be able to go and click this one. The past learners, it was the first course here, and now nowadays the current learners, they go to the go-to course. The homepage will give information about what the course is about, who the course addresses to, the structure, how to earn the certificate at the end. All the course was developed, of course, by the project partners, as you see here, within the Delta project. When somebody enters the platform, what he's able to see. So we have the homepage, we have the general forum announcement where we posted everything that was very important for the learners to see, to be informed about. In the introduction, it will be the user manual. It was a manual so that the learners will be able to navigate in the platform. And then you see here the 4 modules with the pictures accessing the 4 modules. And of course, we have the access to the social media of the project. The content of the course. We self-produced videos. You see here some of the speakers. We prepared introductory videos for each of the modules. And then we had the presentations with voiceover, with sound, and transcript that the learners will be able to download and read. Each module had its own tutor or tutors, and the learner will be able to contact them directly. Here is an example of how module 1 is, and is divided in 4 different units. Each unit then it had information with its own video, education strategy, learning outcomes, what the learner will be able to achieve after finishing this specific module. The handbook was very important for the students to download in order to get all the knowledge needed in order to go afterwards in the self-assessment quizzes. The transcript that I told you about. We're preparing now the translations of the transcripts. So that means that after the project ends, we will upload the transcripts in all 4 languages, in English, Greek, Italian, and Czech. So, yeah, module 1. Okay, some presentation as I said before. And we had in total 32 hours of face-to-face sessions, activities with the tutors for the blended learning. This is the certificates that somebody could gain after achieving and successfully finishing the quizzes, certificate of completion with the compendium. The ISP was, as I said before, for a selection of up to 6 learners for each university of archaeology, and some statistics about the platform. You see here that the majority of the material that we have, like 4 modules, 80 videos, 80 transcripts, many quizzes, and fora. We had 39 people that, 54 people in 2021 that finished the course. And now it's not the final data because, as I said before, the course is still running. So we have 180 people that completed the course. How many people they were able to claim the badge through the platform? So as you see, many people had the possibility to get the module 1, module 4, 3, 2, and of course the golden badge is the final badge that somebody will be able to acquire when finishes successfully all 4 modules. When somebody finishes its module, there is an evaluation form that the student had to complete. And here are some nice, let's say, comments that we received last year about how important is the course for themselves, if they helped them, if it was organized, the videos, it was the content. So we're very pleased to hear good news, but also we welcome the negative comments in order for us to revise the material and be better in the future. So thank you very much. Okay, me again. Okay, so we continue the program. I would like to welcome Dr. Peter Todt for introducing us to the module 1. Dr. Peter Todt studied archaeology at the Masaryk University in Brno. He did his PhD research at the Institute for Archaeology, Slovak Academy of Science in Nitra, on the relation of humans and the environment between the Neolithic and early Bronze Age. He works as a researcher at the Masaryk University, where he specializes in the relation of human impact and vegetation change, human strategies, and the Neolithization in southern slopes of Western Carpathians. He took part in international archaeological excavations, not only in Czech Republic, but also in Slovakia, Hungary, and Syria. He is leading an excavation now at the Neolithic site in Tesetice, sorry for the name, in Czech Republic. The floor is yours, thank you.
you very much for the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And I'm happy to guide you through the module 1 and how we created the content for the course. So during my presentation, I will inform you about my reflections from designing the course, about reflections how we developed the course. I would like to show you the topics that we designed and some reflections as a tutor. Creating this content was a team effort, and I would like to first to introduce you my team from the Maastricht University. So besides me, Johanna was a very important part of the team. She, together with David, were developing Unit 1. Johanna also compiled the teaching handbook, and David compiled policy recommendations and practices. Wojciech was responsible for Unit 4, and Dalia, she prepared quiz questions and also revised some of the materials. And myself, I created the content for Unit 2 and Unit 3. So, first of all, I would like you to tell something about the context in order to understand how we develop the content. So, as we heard in the first presentations, the goal of the Delta project is to design and develop an innovative course which in 21st century will improve the digital skills that are necessary or which stakeholders require from the participants and students. So for this reason, in order to identify what are the core ideas which we should focus on, within the consortium, we did online survey and desk research. So the online survey showed that there is a high demand for digital skills for the fresh absolvents from fresh archaeologists, and the desk research showed that there is a high variety of how the digital skills are being taught in the participating countries. So we find some research gap and how we should implement these findings. So this was our task within the module 1, and we had discussions in which or how to implement these key findings, and we decided in these key topics. So we had something about before excavation, because we have a site, archaeological site, where an excavation is going on, but first we need to look how the archaeological site is being discovered. So we try to somehow show the methods, some selection of methods which might be useful for discovering new archaeological sites. Then we focused on geodesy and some basic measurement techniques, geographic information systems, and 3D visualization techniques. As we are coming from a university background, we somehow intuitively know how to design and develop a course, but this workload is somehow gradual throughout the semester. But within the Delta platform, the course is being developed as a MOOC, and therefore everything must have been prepared beforehand in an organized manner. Therefore, we used a methodology developed by Hellenic Open University, which consisted of creating tables where we specified the aims of each module, the content, the educational strategy, the assessment type, and so on. In order to be high quality material, there are several steps. First, we need to create the content, and then there are several check-ups or several review stages. First, there is a technical review, if everything is filled correctly, and then there is a scientific review within the team, which checks if the content is developed according to current standards. So these were the methods how we proceeded, And these are some examples of the tables what we created. So in this table, for example, we needed to specify what will be the content for individual units. Here, we somehow specified what kind of learning objects or presentations will be, what kind of study material the students need to learn, and so on. And there were many tables. So before developing the actual content, we needed to prepare a lot of material beforehand in order to know what will be there in the course. So after the filling of the course, we could move forward developing the content. Our strategy was to focus on students' handbook, so to create some book, some first-hand material that student can read. And this book, this student handbook, was like a basis for us. And all of the presentations were created based on the student's handbook. The presentations were very light. They took some ideas, and then if the student is interested, he or she can follow the topic reading the handbook. So these are the materials what we created. At the beginning of each unit, there was some introductory videos, so some introduction into the topic. Then this one chapter in student's handbook, and we created several presentations which students need to watch. And in these presentations, after finishing the presentations, students would fulfill several learning outcomes. After the end of each unit, we prepared 20 quiz questions. And if student is interested in the topic, he or she could watch basically some YouTube videos or some additional papers. The course take part in May, in the second half of the May 2022. Concerning the content, before the actual excavation, we wanted to show how the sites are being discovered, and we wanted to select some methods which use digital tools or which work with the digital data. So we focused on remote sensing methods, some non-destructive methods, and some online maps which can be used for discover new sites. In the unit, we tried to explain some basic overview of the principles and potential of the methods and how to interpret the results what we can get by studying these resources. We used some free or open source tools like Google Maps, online maps, and some particular examples from the practice. In Unit 2, we focused on geodesy. As you know, archaeological excavation is a destructive process and you can't repeat it. Therefore, we need to do the best as we could in order to document the features. Therefore, it is necessary to measure the spatial attributes of the features, and we focused on measuring devices such as the GNSS receiver and total station. Within the module, we explained some common principles, how to operate this equipment. We gave some introduction into the coordinate systems because each of our countries within the consortium use some different coordinate system. We try to explain some most common measurement scenarios and how to exchange data between computer and measuring device. So within this module, we used QGIS, LibreOffice Calc, some online maps and examples from practice. In Unit 3, we focused on geographic information systems because if we are doing the documentation by hand using tape measure and a pencil, it takes a lot of time, and the produced drawings or plans are not quite accurate. Using GIS, we can create high quality outputs. Therefore, we try to explain the principles of GIS, what is the current software available, and why the open source is the way to go. What are the most common data types, how to manage spatial data, how to visualize data, and how to produce digital outputs. So we used QGIS, LibreOffice Calc, online maps, and also some examples from the practice. In Unit 4, we focused on 3D visualization techniques. The idea was that using this 3D visualization technique, you can return at any time at the site and you can take a look how the features, how the contexts, how the site looked like during the excavation, and you can do some measurements, you can do some observations, what you might have missed in the field. So we focused on basic operating principles, how to acquire pictures by camera or drones. We explained some basic workflow and how to visualize data, how to analyze the data, and how to store the data, because we create quite a lot of amount of digital data. So the tools we used was Meshroom, Cloud Compare. We also use some examples for practice, and we encourage students to produce their own digital data. At the end of the module, there were scheduled face-to-face activities, but it was a Corona time, and we need to adjust the actual face-to-face activities to screen-to-screen activities. So the goal of these face-to-face or screen-to-screen activities was fusion of the knowledge the students acquired by studying the module. In order to be the tasks or the activities attractive, we try to gamify the task, and we used all the mentioned tools before. So just an example, in the geodesy, for example, we imagine the situation that Bill Gates wants to donate you a huge amount of money, and he needs to see where you want to excavate. So your task will be to prepare the list of the sites with coordinates that you can import to some measurement device. So this was the first task concerning geodesy. Concerning the GIS, Bill Gates is very pleased with the list of the site, and he gave you a go and you could conduct the excavation. So you are making your excavation of a lifetime, and Bill Gates is satisfied, but he is asking for the report. So you need to prepare some digital maps. So this was the task for the GIS. Concerning the prospection part, or before the excavation part, another billionaire wants to support your activity, and George Soros, he wants to create some archaeological conservation area, and you need to select the area with the most archaeological relics. So you have to study some online maps and prepare some reports, so George Soros can finally conserve the archaeological cultural heritage. In 3D visualization technique, the students had to solve some catastrophe, they had to solve some Ragnarok, because the ancient gods were awakening, and only some archaeological relic might have saved the world, and luckily archaeologists made some 3D model of it, and you need to reconstruct the 3D model of the relic. So this was task for 3D visualization technique. We encouraged students to give us some evaluations, so we can know what are the stronger or weaker parts of our activity, and these are the results of our evaluation. We received quite good marks, but what we were weak was the difficulty of the quizzes and the usual we produced a lot of material, so students need to really study and to look or watch the video. So these were the most weaker parts. And we received also some good comments. These are the comments generally for the whole course, and some of them concerned module 1. For example, module 1 needs to be reorganized. And somehow we wanted to reflect this feedback, and in 2022 we tried to update the content based on some of the feedback. We updated some learning objects, we updated some student handbook, and we paid some special attention to Unit 4, which was in the previous run of the course text-based, but in the next run of the course we created videos and presentations in order to be more interactive. Now this year, the course was without face-to-face activities. So after students finished the course, we also received some evaluation, and we wanted to see how we fared this year compared to the previous year. So you can see that there is some rise, there is some also bounce, but generally I made some statistical tests for significance, and we can see that these ups and downs are not statistically significant, and basically we are at the same, we receive the same evaluation basically as the previous year. And I was also interested in how much time the student needed to finish the course, or how much time the student needed to study the materials. And comparing the previous year and the last year, we see that there is no statistically significant difference between the studying materials. So next time, perhaps we need to lower the amount of the content. So this will be the task for the future. So I would like to conclude the presentation by reflections as a tutor. So we were having a very good time in the project, and we also faced some difficulties concerning the COVID. So I think what the Delta project gave me was like improving skills with online tools like Zoom or Microsoft Teams, and also improving some communication skills, because you were communicating with students which had different levels of knowledge. So you needed to somehow digest the knowledge and prepare the answer in order the student understands what you mean. Also, we as a team acquired some innovative pedagogy skills, and also since we are working with the digital tools like GIS or geodesy, we needed to study something more in order to prepare all of the materials. So as a result, we also deepened our own knowledge of this topic. So with this, I would like to thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Peter. So we can continue our program. I would like to invite Dr. Yannis Papadopoulos. He's an assistant professor of prehistoric archaeology in the Department of History and Archaeology, National Kapodistrian University of Athens. He received his degree on archaeology and history of art from the University of Athens and his PhD on prehistoric archaeology from the University of Sheffield. He worked as postdoctoral research fellow at the University of Sheffield and as contract archaeologist for the Greek Archaeological Service. He also teaches at the Hellenic Open University, and he's directing 4 field projects carrying out excavation and surveys in Marathon and Crete. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Panagiotis. Thank you all for being here. As a comment to what Peter said, I mean, COVID, I think, proved the importance of a MOOC like Delta. The only problem is that it was not ready when COVID came. It will be better. I mean, we had to design it during the COVID. It would be better if it was just before it, but still, I mean, it proved the importance of having a Delta course amidst the COVID. So, the contribution of the National Kapodistrian University of Athens to the Delta course focused on the very essence of excavation documentation, that is, documentation in the field during the excavation and in the laboratory during the post-excavation phases of archaeologists' work. Although we are all familiar with the irreversible and destructive character of excavation, which requires consistent, accurate, and detailed documentation and recording, we also know that it is one of the most difficult notions for our students to comprehend and assimilate. For this reason, it is important for any course on excavation documentation, whether digital or conventional, to help learners understand that excavation documentation is an essential part of any archaeological project, because it allows the reconstruction of the excavation process and archaeological interpretation afterwards. To familiarize students with the basic principles and methods of documentation applied in situ and after excavation. To learn students the use and operation of tools for digital recording, namely tablets and the relevant software for filling in digital notebooks and recording sheets. To integrate very varied types of digital information, text, drawings, images, orthophotos into a single digital archive, and to manage, analyze, and visualize the digital data for the purposes of archaeological interpretation. With the above in mind, we designed Module 2 with the aim that the trainees will learn about digital documentation in situ and after excavation, the creation and use of digital data collection forms, the creation and management of simple databases containing the digital data which were collected in the field, and the use of databases in GIS environment for the analysis and interpretation of excavation data. At a more practical level, the expected learning objectives of Module 2 were that upon the completion of the course, the trainees should be able to understand the advantages and limitations of digital documentation, describe and record various types of archaeological features and deposits, create digital recording forms with the use of Open Data Kit software, operate tablets for digital recording in the field, integrate varied types of digital information into a single digital archive, transfer the collected digital data in databases, and analyze the digital data for the production of archaeological interpretations. The structure of the module reflects the above aims and learning objectives, comprising 4 different units. Unit 1 on the importance of archaeological documentation in situ and after excavation. Unit 2 on digital documentation in situ. Unit 3 on digital documentation after the excavation. And Unit 4 on post-excavation analysis of digital archaeological data. Before proceeding with the presentation of each unit, I would like to emphasize that the design and realization of the module was a collective effort by the speaker, together with Antigone Carlara, PhD candidate of the University of Athens, who contributed mostly to the theoretical parts of the module, and Alexandra Kateveni, also PhD candidate of the University of Athens, who collaborated in the more technical parts of the module. So Unit 1, Unit 1 focuses on the importance of archaeological documentation in general. More specifically, we discussed extensively about the destructive character of excavation. We described the basic notions of excavation, such as context, stratigraphy, site formation. We presented a short history of archaeological documentation. We described the basic types of excavation record, namely the written, drawn, and the photographical record. We described the main methods of excavation and the basic excavation tools. And finally, we presented the way of recording deposits, cuts, built features, burials, samples, and isolated finds. In Unit 2, Unit 2 is a continuation of Unit 1, but with special emphasis on digital excavation recording, which is actually the core of their purpose. In the first part, we presented the key concepts of digital documentation, and then we proceeded with the discussion of the advantages of digital documentation in comparison to the conventional one. However, special emphasis was also given to the disadvantages, the limitations, the risks, and the pitfalls of digital documentation. In the second part, we first discussed the basic tools and hardware for data input, such as tablets, total stations, GNSS receivers, digital cameras, and laser scanners. Then we presented the main types of digital data, such as coordinates, orthophotos, digital elevation models, 3D models, and the main types of digital file formats, such as TXT, XLF, XLS, RTF, DOC, JPEG, TIFF, PNG, BMP, and SHP. In the third part of the unit, we made a short presentation of the databases. It's a very broad subject, so our presentation was confined to the basic types of databases, the way they can be used in an archaeological project, their advantages, but also their problems and limitations. The two last parts of Unit 2 were more technical. In the fourth part, after a short presentation of the available applications for data collection in the field, we focused on our choice, the Cobalt toolbox. We presented the basic features and advantages of this application and justified our choice and its suitability for archaeological projects. Cobalt Toolbox is a free and open source platform for mobile data collection in the field. It works both online and offline, and its main strength is that it is suitable for challenging environments, such as the excavation field. Apart from this, it is also suitable for educational purposes, because it has an easy to use builder for designing digital forms. So the fourth part of Unit 2 shows the learners how to create a digital form and how to upload or deploy it in order to be used in the field for data collection. The fifth and last part of the unit is a continuation of the previous one. The learners were shown how to fill in the excavation data collection form, which was created in the previous part, how to upload them on the server, and how to download them and manage the collected data. Unit 3 is very similar to Unit 2, but refers to data collection during the post-excavation phases of an archaeological project, particularly the work in laboratories. The first two parts were theoretical, while the two last had a more technical and practical character. In the first part, we presented the key concepts and the main phases of post-excavation work, from the conservation of the finds to the study of various categories of finds by specialists, such as pottery, lithics, metal objects, human and animal bones, botanical remains, etc. In the second part, we presented the main tools and techniques used for documentation during post-excavation work. We discussed the advantages of applying digital recording techniques during this phase, particularly the ability to connect the excavation and post-excavation digital data in the same database easily and effectively. And we also discussed and presented digital tools for textual and visual data input, tablets, digital cameras, laser scanners, reflectance transformation imaging RTI, digital 2D drawings, 3D photorealistic models, and hybrid images. The third part of Unit 3 showed the learners how to create digital forms for recording data during the conservation of mobile finds and during the study of pottery or other isolated finds. In the fourth and last part of the unit, the learners were shown how to fill in a pottery reading form, an object form, and a drawing form, how to upload them on the server, and how to download them and manage the collected data. Unit 4 concerns the post-excavation statistical analysis of the digital archaeological data collected with the use of recording form in the previous two units. In the first part, we presented the basic analytical tools offered by the Kobo Toolbox platform and by spreadsheet applications such as LibreOffice Calc and Office Excel. The Kobo Toolbox platform allows some very basic analysis and visualization of the recorded data, but it has limited potential and functionality. For this reason, special emphasis was given to the use of spreadsheet applications. The other three parts about the management and visualization of the recorded data in a GIS, the other three parts were about the management and visualization of the recorded data in a GIS platform, QGIS in particular. In the second part of the unit, we showed the learners how to import and georeference raster photogrammetric models of an excavation trench into QGIS. The third part concerned how to select the recorded data for spatial analysis, how to create polygons of excavation context, and how to import the finds. In the fourth and final part of Unit 4, we showed the learners how to visualize excavation context and finds, how to search and manage them, how to change their symbology, and how to create a printable map for presentation or publication purposes. Coming back to the structure of Module 2 and the subject of the various units and subunits, I think it becomes clear that we try to provide the learners with the right amount of theoretical and technical knowledge. But even more important, we try to show the whole process of digital documentation, from the creation of digital forms to the recording of the data in the field and the laboratory, and from the management and statistical analysis of the recorded data to their spatial analysis and visualization in GIS. I think that the office structure helped the learners to understand the internal logic and all the necessary steps that any archaeological project has to go through. Beyond the learners, however, I have to admit that our experience from designing the Delta course helped also us, the tutors, to think about alternative and more efficient ways to present and teach difficult archaeological concepts and demanding digital technologies. The results of this experience are already felt by all the archaeology students of the University of Athens. The departmental excavation at Marathon, which finished only just yesterday, we incorporated for the first time many of the teaching strategies we followed in the Delta course. Moreover, because many of the students who participated to this year's excavation had already completed the Delta course, they were better prepared for the practical lessons in the field. To sum up, the Delta course not only taught our students with new knowledge and provided digital competencies, but also helped us, the tutors, to adopt new teaching strategies and technologies, and also made the practicals in the excavation field more effective. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Papadatos. I would like to welcome Dr. Francesca Sogliani in order to present us Module 3. Dr. Francesca Sogliani is Associate Professor of Christian and Medieval Archaeology from the Department of European and Mediterranean Cultures, descent from University of Basilicata in Matera, Head of the Postgraduate School of Archaeological Heritage, Director of the Scientific Journal Series, Co-Director of Polygon, Member of the Steering Committee of the Society of Italian Medieval Archaeologists in Summit, Members of the Scientific Board of the National Cluster of Cultural and Creative Industries, and Member of Steering Committee of the Basilicata Region Cluster of Cultural and Creative Industries, and Scientific Manager of the Project CORA. She has participated in numerous archaeological research projects in Italy and abroad, and directed in recent years numerous archaeological excavations of fortified monastic and urban sites in Campania and Basilicata. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you, and good morning to everybody. First of all, I would like to tell that our team will participate in a very collective effort on this project. This Delta project consists of me, of Professor Dimitris Rubis as supervisor and coordinators, and collaborators who I like to mention here: Silvia Bullo, Luisa Ino, Ida Campanile, and Bruna Gargiulo, who collaborate to prepare and develop the online course and the content, and as tutors. And let me spend also a few words about the effective and the successful participation of our partnership in this project, which has been a really good experience to share competences, to share ideas, to share reflections, and to contribute to build this online course. I will present here the Module 3. The Module 3 comes after the first two modules because using all the competences elaborated and developed in the first two modules focus the enhancement and the enjoyment of cultural and especially archaeological heritage. I would like to talk about the planning of the steps for a digital perspective in heritage enhancement, which is the content of the course, of the outcomes and of the tasks for learners of this module. This consists in enabling archaeologists to produce, manage and visualize digital data for the preservation and presentation of archaeological heritage, from the large scale of entire building of archaeological landscape down to the smaller scale of artifacts and ecofacts. These are the units in which it is organized, this module. The Unit 1, data processing and digital tools for artifact drawing. We saw this in other modules, but we use this for presenting and for enhancing the archaeological heritage. The unit 2 is photogrammetric measurement techniques with the 3D imaging and drone. And then virtual restoration and conservation of ornamental surfaces of monuments and artifacts, and virtual immersive and augmented reality for archaeological heritage. These are all steps fundamental to build a project of enhancing and highlighting and enjoyment of archaeological heritage. Data processing, of course, the problem which is concerning various types of data processing, the focus is on the hierarchical structure, databases and archives, on specific dictionaries, photos, drawings, and metadata. And then on the interchange, which implies the overcoming of territorial, local, and regional limits with the aim of expanding the scientific community, which is one of the aims of our project. Of course, in order for this to happen, two steps are required: the accessibility of the archives and the high level of standardization. And what about metadata? Assuming that the function of metadata, that is to offer information on a data, add another data, the purpose regarding a document is to make it easier to search, locate, select, and to give semantic interoperability. Despite the coordination action carried out by individual countries in the creation and dissemination of digital archive management system, however, the real sharing of data is compromised by the lack of integration of information system. Compliance with some principles, however, is a fundamental prerequisite to ensure interoperability. Very effective are the vocabularies and the thesauri. It's the tool through which we can achieve the goal, control thesauri and vocabularies, of course, and all the steps we already saw, but these steps are the basis to build, as I told you, the enhancing program for archaeological heritage. It means the drawing of artifacts, of course, the drawing skip from ink pen to digital images, of course, and this is very important. We have to know how to draw, and the learners how to draw manually an artifacts, but how to implement this in a digital way, and this is the aim of our course. Of course, the use of computer-aided design to propose also the 3D dimension of artifacts, very useful, for example, virtual reality or augmented reality. Of course, the GIS platform, we talk about this, but it is essential to collect all the data in a very semantic way. What does the GIS, you know, software, what does need the GIS, method, software, and hardware, but data, but people. People who are who have competences to use it in the better way and to use it as a repository to interpret archaeological heritage. Through data acquisition, data drawing, data archiving, data analysis, and representation of information, which means displays of maps on the screen, editing, drawing of the final map documents, with also statistics, as we saw, referring to the data. Because GIS locates in space objects by connecting them in different layers. And these layers are the basis to build, again, the virtual reconstruction of archaeological sites of artifacts. We can use single layer, different layers, several layers, of course, and also GIS, it's a very effective tools for decision support system, also for political enhancing of cultural heritage. Of course, photogrammetry, we needed to build the frame of objects and landscape for virtual display. Photogrammetry is a very effective tool, but we have also, and we learn to overcome the criticalness about some very difficult monuments. For example, here is a case study concerning a very beautiful church in Basilicata region. It's a medieval one with added a modern building. So how to face this criticalness with photogrammetry reconstruction. It's something we teach in our course. And also the use of aerial photogrammetry with drones, which can display a very big panorama of the landscapes and sites. And for survey, of course, the operation we carried on with flight planning, photo acquisition, and data processing for aerial photogrammetry with the drones. But the drone surveys also proves to be a formidable tool for periodic monitoring of archaeological heritage, as it is extremely versatile and relatively inexpensive tool that is essential in case of inaccessibility or partial accessibility of the site. These topics, the partial accessibility or the inaccessibility, is one of the most important for virtual reconstruction and virtual immersive also reality. I can skip this. Another tool is a thermographic survey. It is a non-destructive diagnostic technique that enables measurement of the infrared radiation emitted by the body through sensors. Also, this is a tool to build the landscape, also virtual reality at the end. I can skip this, and I go into the more specific topics of our module. One of them, the first, the step 3 of our architecture of the module, is the virtual restoration and conservation of ornamental surfaces of monuments and artifacts. Virtual restoration, born in the field of conservation of cultural heritage, has broadened the scope of application, indicating today not only the use of image processing techniques applied to cultural heritage, but also all the methodologies aimed at restoring the original feature of the work, otherwise not accessible. It comes back to the topic of the accessibility. Of course, the virtual restoration consists of surface representation, treatment, and optimization with specific software we explained during the course to the learners. Surface mapping, non-invasive surface analysis, which is a very important thing because of the conservation of archaeological and artistic items. It's a very important topics. And then, of course, surface integration and surface reconstruction. Through the virtual restoration, we can reconstruct the palimpsests cycles, and the term applies only on those paintings, for example, in which there are pictorial layers of different works composed in different times. It is possible to isolate, in this case, 2 or more overlapping pictorial layers and associate them with 2 or more separate images on which line reconstructions of individual decorative patterns can be attempted. We show some of our study case, for example, in the church, in a Replacement church in Matera, the church of San Giovanni Monterone, and we were able with this practice, with these tools, with this software, it is a bit complicated, but we have to manage with. From the original frescoes, we separated the different layers of the palimpsest. We did the surface analysis with gaps of the legs of the paintings, and we designed we planned the outlines of the frescoes, and then we proposed the virtual restoration with auto. Another tools, another technologies is the 3D printing, which refers to any robotic process aimed at the production of 3-dimensional objects. They are all tools very effective because in the last year the development of 3D technologies applied to the field of cultural heritage has led to results of the utmost importance from the point of view of preservation, highlighting communication and enjoyment of our assets. With the 3D printing, we can do replicas, of course, very useful for a lot of focus in museum, for workshop, for restoration, recreating missing portion of an object, of course. And then all these technologies could merge with virtual and immersive virtual reality and augmented reality. They are very, very important as a communicative and popularizing strategy, and moreover as a new methodology of investigation also for researchers and for learners, dealing with new perspective and interpretative possibilities. Virtual reality in archaeology create a more effective reconstruction, observation and analysis of finds and sites, and facilitates the study, the enjoyment and the use of cultural heritage. In conversion with photogrammetry can immerse archaeologists into virtual sites that can help them to analyze and research more conveniently. This is a sketch with the role of virtual reality in archaeology. You can follow them. I just summarize the topics. It means recreate, access is very important for the topics I told before. Leverage expertise, educate. These are the application of virtual reality in archaeology. And of course, different types, immersive virtual reality. We did state case studies in Matera, again, in the frame of tourism and culture 5G program. The virtual visit of Protestant churches enabled to preview some of the sites of main tourist interest in Matera. So the visitor can prepare the visit, can attend the visit, or also can do the visit online, not in physically. And just the new trends of museum communication based on dynamic narration and multimodal information have really greatly changed the exhibition logic for museums and the very modalities of use of cultural content by the public. At the same time, the impulse of new technologies has forcefully imposed a new hybrid form of communication. From recent studies, where it's evident that all those exhibitions that have characterized their cultural offer through digital technologies and active participation of the public have obtained greater success in terms of affluence and most likely a greater understanding of shared cultural information. I will conclude with the next one, tools. It means the augmented reality, which is an interactive experience where computer-generated information is overlaid into real-world environment and can include visual, auditory, and haptic information. Some study case we present were to the learners to experiment also through the websites of the study case. It will Dino one, but there are many, of course. And just one thing, that augmented reality is the use of various technologies to overlay data onto one visual or oral perception of the environment. And the augmented reality does not need to be only digital technology. We have to state this also, because it can be as simple as a sheet of plexiglass perspex framing a view of an archaeological site, etched so that the missing structures can be seen. This is the example of Carnuntum in Austria. Many case studies. I close with this. It's an Italian case studies. It's a game, Inventum, developed by our societies, F9, and with augmented reality we can explore the archaeological park of Vernosa, which is one of the very important archaeological park in Basilicata, accompanied by a historical person, Roberto Guiscardo, which is a Norman power in south of Italy, through the screen of the smartphone, and the environment could, to be crossed, will appear enriched with unexpected information, perfectly consistent with the real scenario behind your device.
This is my last picture. I will show it because inside there are all the objects, all the topics we explained during our modules. So the artifacts, the archaeological artifacts, the plan of the archaeological sites, the roads, all the nest, the people, the landscape. So this is like a comprehensive picture to show how we get through documentation on excavation sites, post excavation documentation and enhancing, and then I pass now the word and the table to the next stop, which is open archaeology, open museum and experimental archaeology. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Francesca. Now I will do the presentation for module, that's the last module for Delta course, module 4. Okay, so we conclude with the last module of Delta course. So let's see what was about module 4. So as I said previously, apart from the digital perspective, apart from the digital tools, the technologies that the archaeologists can apply and use and know in the excavation before and after, in the lab, and how to preserve, how to promote, another significant impact, another significant issue to deal with the archaeologists is how you connect the archaeology with the content, with the audience. So module 4, here's the title, Open Air Museums and Experimental Archaeology, introduced the students of archaeology to the value of archaeological open air museums. So we wanted to focus on this type of museums, their management and their visitors. The learners of Delta will be able to understand how to practice the experimental archaeology. This was another issue in the course, which is strongly connected with the growing craft experience. So through the module 4, learners will be able to comprehend how to acquire the 21st century skills, meaning soft skills like interpretation, storytelling, and the skills that are related to the audience engagement and the storytelling techniques. So effective interpretation is the one that will allow archaeologists to make each visitor personally connected with the resource or the place, so to care about the science. It's very important to raise the awareness for the public of what is about this historical place, why it's so important, what was there, so to do the connection. And help the public archaeology is another issue that module 4 was dealing with, which helped the young researchers to better understand archaeological processes. So let's go with the modules. As you see here, module 4 was divided in 5 different units. So unit 1 introduced the learners, So Unit 1 introduced the learners to the meaning and the term of what is open air museum or what is called site museum. The students were able to learn more of the first open air museum, which is in Wisconsin in Sweden. So we had to do with some historical background of the type, and we're aware of the different open air museums that appear in the Europe. In this unit, it was explained the term, what is public archaeology? And as public interest in cultural heritage is increasing, this is something that is recognized in the 2001 UNESCO Convention. It is not surprising that public archaeology has become one of the most rapidly developing sectors of archaeology. Since the early of 2007, different groups of ARCH, for those who are not aware of ARCH, is an international organization that deals with open air museums and experimental archaeology. So its members try to involve in setting up a meaning definition of what is an archaeological open air museum. So here you can see what the ARCH defines as archaeological open-air museums. Unit 2 was referring to what is experimental archaeology. Experimental archaeology can be seen as a versatile tool that connects not only archaeologists but museums, universities, societies, and freelancers. It keeps all of these factors, of these elements in direct contact with the audience that loves to be amazed by the past and have their answers, their questions answered. So if some parts of these cooperative activities are better structured, the added value is enormous, because the experimental archaeology is not limited to the academic work. So it's not only about the archaeologists, from the archaeologist to the archaeologist. With a few simple measures, many actions like in archaeological reconstruction, ancient technology, living history, education and training, student training, can contribute immensely to our knowledge of the past. If this follows simple experimental archaeology approach. So experimental archaeology is a very good tool for everybody. In Unit 3 of Module 4, this is a unit that is referring to the live interpretation in archaeological open-air museums. This unit actually explained to the learners what live interpretation is, what they have to do, what they have to avoid, how to engage the diverse audiences, and how to raise the public awareness on a cultural site or a cultural issue. Because you see, we have different audiences, and thus we need to engage different approaches, different communication techniques, different means. So through this unit, the learners were able to get to know some examples of live interpretation that is already applied in European archaeological open-air museums. So Unit 4 talked about the management of the archaeological open-air museums, how to best manage an open-air museum. There are some tricks, some tips, some suggestions. So this unit guides the students on the best methods, how to properly manage an open-air museum, as well to underline the importance of actualization and preservation of reconstructions. When we visit an archaeological open-air museum, we visit the past, we see the reconstructed actual monuments, how the ancient civilizations used to be. So you see here that we have this trinity, the classical trinity of heritage management. The future perspective with the tangible past is determined by political commitment, this is one thing, the public awareness and the economic visibility. Always economics plays a huge role to this, but all these three elements are strongly connected. Because without public awareness, political commitment will lose its legitimacy and economic visibility will lose its sustainability. And for that reason, the support of public awareness is of primary importance. The last unit in Module 4 dealt with the low-tech and high-tech approaches in the archaeological open museums. Because here the unit proposes different technological approaches on how to engage the audiences. We talked previously about the live interpretation, how some actors, maybe some people, the personnel that works in an archaeological open museum can be like an actor and engage the public, but also there are some tools, some technological approaches as well. So as previously mentioned, VR techniques like VR, augmented reality, mixed reality can be a useful tool at the hands of the archaeologists and the cultural heritage professionals towards interpretation and storytelling. So history and archaeological museums are considered as a place where when you go there, you leave the technology behind. You don't want to deal with the technology because you want to feel what was in the past. But on the other hand, you know that the audience, the visitors comes with their smartphones and they expect from you to have some applications, some installation, to have the modern display, let's say the technological display of the artifacts. So Through this unit, the learners had to know how to deal with and engage both different target groups. Here, there is some, let's say, inside information of how each module was designed. We prepared some tables with all the information in order to structure better the module. This was applied for all modules. This is an example of how it was in module 4. So we had the tables for the description of the module, the education strategy that us as partners and developers of the course should go to design the learning outcomes. You see here, based on the Bloom's taxonomy, we had to create learning outcomes for each module. And here are some examples of what module 4 had. For example, as I said before in the first presentation, we had the videos for each module, presentation with voiceover, and papers or electronic books offered through the platform. Here is an example of what the questions of module 4 were. So we had self-assessment quizzes like true-false, and the learner would be able to pick up the right answer. We had multiple choice questions with 4 possible questions. Again, the learner would be able to pick up what is best for him, and right away he will be able to know the outcome. Thank you very much. Okay, so we may continue. I would like to welcome Ms. Adigoni Kalara for presenting us the evaluation that we received in the Delta course. Ms. Kalara is a PhD candidate of prehistoric archaeology at the National and Kapodistrian University of Athens. She studied history and archaeology at the same university, and also she has a master in prehistoric archaeology. Her PhD research focuses on the reconstruction of cult activities at Minoan peak sanctuaries from the Proto-Palaeolithic until the Neo-Palaeolithic period. She has an extensive fieldwork experience, participating in many interdisciplinary archaeological projects all over Greece, and in the University of Athens excavation and Plancy Marathon, she has worked for 4 years as a trench supervisor and tutor for undergraduate students. So thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. The blending course of physical excavation was first realized in 2021, combining various educational and tourism methods. Online learning through the Delta platform, face-to-face activities, and training in the excavation field and the laboratory through the organization of the intensive study program at the excavation site of Plancy Marathon. The Delta course was addressed to a wide audience with emphasis on undergraduate and postgraduate students of archaeology, museology, and cultural heritage management. Moreover, it targeted graduates and professionals of the relevant fields who wish to advance their knowledge and be familiarized with digital tools and techniques used in the excavation and the archaeological practice in the 21st century. No previous knowledge was required for the successful fulfillment of the learning material. The only prerequisite for the attendance of the online course was the enrollment in the platform. In my presentation, I will focus on the online part of the Delta course, which was undertaken in 2 phases. In 2021, the pilot phase, and in 2022, only the online part. The pilot online course of digital excavation was delivered from May 10th until the end of August 2021. A total of 151 students enrolled in the platform, including 74 students from Italy, 45 from Greece, 18 from the Czech Republic, 11 from Slovakia, and 3 students from other universities. On the basis of the university, the enrolled students are distributed as following: 74 from the University of Basilicata, 44 from the National Kapodistria University of Athens, 29 from the Mazani University, and 4 students from other universities. Since it was a pilot course, it was our conscious decision to confine the course to students of the collaborating countries and universities in order to be able to evaluate and control better the results and the outcomes. The students enrolled in the platform in 2021 represented all educational levels. More specifically, 30% were undergraduate students, 25% MA holders, 24% postgraduate students, 7% graduates, 5% PhD candidates of archaeology, 5% PhD holders, and 3% students of Italian specialization schools. The vast majority of the participants were undergraduate students and MA students and holders, who were the main target group of the Delta course in the first place. On the contrary, graduates, including professionals in archaeology, PhD candidates and PhD holders, and students of Italian specialization schools are underrepresented. The attendance and study and the assessment of the learnings in the course were carried out through the Delta platform. The learning material hosted in the platform was designed by the 4 universities partners of the consortium, aiming at covering a wide range of subjects related to the detection, excavation, recovery, study, analysis, visualization, interpretation, presentation, and dissemination of the archaeological material. More specifically, the educational material consisted of a student's handbook in the digital form, focusing on 4 different subjects with several units and learning objects, and PowerPoint presentations with voice narration, which follow the content and the structure of the student's handbook. Each PowerPoint presentation was devoted to an individual learning object. The assessment of the learners in the educational material consisted of 20 multiple-choice questions and the end of each unit. In the online course of 2021, the minimum score required for the successful completion of the course was 80% in all 4 modules. Regarding the successful completion of the online course, out of a total of 151 registered students, 54 students completed the course, which corresponds to 36% of the total. The percentages of the successful learners per educational level are distributed as following: 58% of the total number of undergraduate students, 36% of the total number of postgraduate students, 33% of the total number of graduates, 25% of the total number of PhD holders, 24% of the total number of MA holders, and 20% of the total number of students of Italian specialization schools. In the MOOC of 2021, none of the enrolled PhD candidates completed successfully the course. The majority did not follow the MOOC after the registration on the platform. The highest percentage in the successful completion of the course represented by the undergraduate student in comparison to learners from other educational levels indicates that the former were more consistent in the attendance and the completion of the course. This result is related to a large degree to the fact that the online course of digital excavation had been included in the curriculum of the 3 universities as an optional course, providing 4 ECTS. Particularly in the case of the National Kapodistria University of Athens, the attendance of the Delta course was part of an undergraduate course entitled Excavation Techniques from the Beginnings of Archaeology until the Digital Age. And its successful completion was a prerequisite for the fulfillment of the course. The average score of the successful learners in the online course was 156.7 out of 170 in all 4 modules. More specifically, the average score in module 1 was 36.6 out of 40. In module 2, 35 out of 40. In module 3, 37.1 out of 40. And lastly, in module 4, 48.4 out of 50. Generally speaking, within each module, the average score of each unit was comparable. With the exception of Unit 1 of Module 3, which seems to be more difficult than the other units of the specific module. Regarding Module 2, in particular, which was designed and tutored by the University of Athens, the highest percentage achieved in the first unit is related to the introductory character of the specific unit, which deals with the basic principles of the archaeological documentation. In other words, it deals with concepts similar to students and knowledge that have been obtained by courses of excavation methodology often offered by its university's curriculum. The lowest average score in the entire course in the 4th unit of Module 2, which was 8.6 out of 10, it was the lowest, is probably related to the high technical character of the specific unit, which deals with post-excavation analysis of digital archaeological data. The experience and the results of the pilot course proved extremely important for the organization of the second online data course, which was redelivered 1 year later in 2022. The course has been available from the 1st of March and is open to attendance and completion until the 6th of June of 2022. The Delta course of 2022 targeted a wider audience, providing the opportunity to a greater number of both students and professionals to improve their digital skills. Indeed, a total of 580 students, that is 4 times more than the pilot course, were registered in the platform, including 357 from Greece, 36 from Italy, 31 from the Czech Republic, and 156 from other countries. Less than half of the applicants were from the comparable universities of the consortium. The latter are distributed as following: 174 students from the National Catholic University of Athens, 34 students from the Hellenic Open University, 10 students from the University of Basilicata, and 7 students from the Nazareth University. In contrast to the MOOC of 2021, which targeted mostly students from the University of the Consortium, Delta 2022 attracted 317 students from other universities and institutions. The students enrolled in the platform represent all educational levels, which are distributed as following: 34% undergraduate students, 18% postgraduate students, 15% MA holders, 9% graduates, 8% holders and PhD candidates of archaeology, and 2% students of Italian specialization schools. The number of undergraduate students was comparable between the two MOOCs, in contrast to the number of postgraduate students and MA holders, which appears to have been significantly decreased. The percentage represented by graduates, PhD holders, PhD candidates, and students of specialization schools is equivalent to the one of the pilot course. As in the case of the pilot course, these groups, comprising mostly professionals, are underrepresented. Regarding the successful completion of the online course, until the 30th of May of 2022, out of a total of 580 enrolled students, 115 students have completed the course, which amounts to 20% of the learners. In the online course of 2022, the minimum score required for the successful completion of the course decreased to 60%. The percentages of the learners who succeeded in the Delta course of 2022 until the 30th of May of 2022 per educational level are distributed as follows. 40% of the total number of students of Italian specialization schools, 25% of the total number of undergraduate students, 20% of the total number of PhD candidates of archaeology, 16% of the total number of postgraduate students, 16% of the total number of MA holders, 15% of the total number of graduates, and 14% of the total number of PhD holders. In comparison to the pilot course, the results of the course of 2022 are differentiated. More specifically, undergraduate students still hold a high percentage in the successful completion of the course. However, this is significantly lower in comparison to the results of the first MOOC, where over half of the enrolled bachelor students succeeded in the course. Apart from undergraduate students, a significant percentage is represented by students of Italian specialization schools in PhD candidates of archaeology, in sharp contrast to the pilot phase of the course. The active involvement of students of Italian specialization schools and PhD students in the MOOC of 2022 indicates that the successful completion of the course of this excavation is not exclusively related to the attendance and completion of the mandatory course that provides a CTS. On the other hand, the percentage of postgraduate students who succeeded in the course of 2022 is significantly decreased in comparison to the pilot course. Generally speaking, with the exception of PhD candidates, the number of participants who fulfill Delta course 2022 is proportionally lower, despite the fact that the minimum score required for the successful completion decreased from 80 to 60. The average score of the successful learners in the online course of 2022 was 155.3 out of 170 in all 4 modules. More specifically, the average score in Module 1 was 36.3 out of 40. In Module 2, 34.5 out of 40. 37.1 out of 40. And lastly, in Module 4, 48.4 out of 50, which is the module with the highest average score in both MOOCs. Within Module 1, 2, and 4, the average score of each unit was comparable. Concerning Module 3, the lowest average score in Unit 1 is also attested in the first MOOC, which also attested in the first MOOC, confirms that this is probably the most demanding unit of the specific module. As in the case of the pilot course, the lowest average score in the entire course is one of the four units of Module 2. The comparison of the results between the MOOC of 2021 and 2022 indicates some significant differences regarding the number, the country of residence, and the university of institution of the enrolled students, the percentage of the successful learners, as well as the percentage achieved per educational. In general, the MOOC of 2022 attracted a greater number of people from many different countries, apart from the 3 countries of the consortium, as well as from other institutions. Concerning the educational level of the enrolled students, the percentage of the undergraduate students in the MOOC of 2022 is slightly higher, as opposed to the percentage of postgraduate students and MA holders, who was significantly lower. On the other hand, the percentages of graduates, PhD holders, and PhD candidates of archaeology, museology, and cultural heritage management appear to be slightly higher than they were in the first year of the module. Regarding the successful completion of the course, the average score in the MOOC of 2022 was slightly lower, and many of the learners did not follow the MOOC after the registration in the platform. The percentage of the successful learners per educational level indicates that the undergraduate students are in both MOOCs the most important target group. On the other hand, in 2022, Postgraduate students were not consistent in the attendance and the completion of the course as opposed to the previous year. Conversely, the surprisingly higher percentage of PhD candidates and students of Italian specialization schools in the successful fulfillment of the course indicates a target group that should be taken more into account in a future move. Concerning both MOOCs, the difference in the average score among the successful learners is not generally related to their education level or to their current specialization or position. This actually means that the assessment of the learning material of the online course of digital excavation does not require specialized knowledge. The successful completion of the course is more related to the degree of involvement of the learners with the educational material. We hope that the familiarization of both students and professionals with the digital technologies will lead to the development of new ways of interpreting and understanding the archaeological past. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ms. Clara. I think the presentation showed actually the whole progress of the course, how the indicators that we achieved, the students that participated, how many followed, how many successfully finished the course. And it's so valuable for us also for the Delta project deliverables. So now we will have a session with questions from the audience. We would like to welcome you to pose any questions if you have any queries, any comments from the audience, either here in the venue or even online. For the online participants, we welcome you to send your question in the chat. So I don't know if anyone from you have any question, please raise your hands and we will come to you. Don't be shy. For example, I see some people, but maybe you have participated already in the Delta course. We would like, since you are here, you would like to comment on, if not question, say something from your experience or something would you like to notice, underline, if something has gave you back the Delta course. Thank you.
Should I speak English or Greek, or it's not my native languages? So, yeah, I've been participating now the Delta course this year, and now I'm jealous because we didn't have this practical field at all. And I wanted to say thank you for this opportunity because it was really great. I think it's very important in modern age to have these ideas about digital technologies and archaeology and museology. In general, I was writing to you actually. Yeah, I was asking about.
I just remember who you are. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And my question is only one. If you probably want to continue the courses like that, if you will have some more practical stuff, maybe, and to Professor Yannis, yes. I studied there, so I was trying to pass your exam twice. I wanted to ask if you have some practical digital stuff about the archaeology in our university, maybe, and because I know the digital master degree in Pacific Catholic University, I saw the what you're asking to enter the course, and it's very difficult. So that's totally, from my experience, I will have to have some more practice before doing this master degree, for example. So if you can tell about that, maybe for people who would be interested, not only for me. Thank you again for this course.
Thank you very much for the question and for the comments. Are also valuable for us. We need to, for sure, we will think about this and we need to continue the we will think it's within the project actually aim and scope with the partners how we will continue the Delta course also for the ISP, for example, or some practical, more hands-on activities in order to apply all the learning stuff that we had in the platform. So I would like to hear more from the scientific coordinator of the project. Maybe he has something else to say here.
Well, first of all, thanks for raising the issue of exploiting the project outcomes, because actually this is what you are asking for. We have been considering how we could explore and enhance and improve the outcomes of the project, which, as you already saw from the previous presentations, they are significant and quite rich at the same time. So what we have here is a course that has different stages, and certainly we're considering to offer the course again through possibly a more formal channel like through the Hellenic Open University, for example, as a non-formal education and training course that will lead to a certificate. This is something we are considering. Now, this course, of course, will not be just the blended course, the online course that you heard talking about, but will be enhanced with further teaching activities. We don't have a concrete plan yet. First, we need to close the project appropriately, submit the final report, hopefully get a good mark for it. And then toward the end of the summer, we will think about how to continue with that. So regarding especially this aspect, I suggest that you keep in touch with the project website for any news. Towards the end of summer, September, you should hear from us around this period. Let's say September, end of summer, probably not. September, you will hear from us about the future, our future plans for exploiting the course. And exploiting in the sense of offering again to the community. That's the idea. Then we are also planning to some follow-up projects that will complement the knowledge and content that we have developed in this one with similar, commensurate, I would say, content in other aspects that relate to archaeology studies and professional development of archaeologists. This is something that if we manage, if we are successful, it will start next year. Again, you will hear about that from at the website. And then we are also considering to extend the impact of the project beyond the countries that are participating now in the consortium by addressing partners, organizations, I would say, from other countries, and also inviting them to join this effort or the new effort. We will see about that. So we have a scaling plan, let's say. First of all, scaling the audience that we are targeting with the course through Hellenic Open University. Second, scaling up the topic, expanding to other topics. And third, scaling up the countries that we can access through with this kind of course or a new course. I'm saying this because you understand that the content has to be translated, so that it requires an investment by whoever would like to join this endeavor and offer the course in their countries. This is all I can say at the moment for exploitation, but for concrete outcomes, you should keep following the website, the social media, the communication channels of the project, and of course, we'll be happy to see you again in one of these future actions. All I want to say before I give the floor to any of my colleagues in this project is that we really had a good time by doing this project. We formed a nice core consortium of people who are really interested in the topic of this project and also in improving the competencies of archaeology students and professionals of archaeology and enhancing the ways archaeology is taught by using digital means. And we will continue along this track. We have already invested almost 3 years for this project. We will continue investing our time and effort, and hopefully we'll manage to attract young people to help us, as we did already with this project, to help us with our new endeavors. Well, I would like now to give the floor to some of my colleagues in this project, and at the same time, I would like to ask you guys to also talk about your experience from this project. How was it for you? I mean, participating, how significant you think it is? Because I think it would be important for the audience to hear from you, who are the actual teachers and professors of archaeology, what it meant for you and what it meant for your students. So, Yanis, perhaps we can start from you.
Yeah, I mean, adding up, actually trying to answer the question before, and adding up to what Professor Kamea said. Okay, perhaps because there is no funding by the European Union through Erasmus project, I mean, that is going to continue, and even the practicals are going to continue. The only thing that cannot continue because of lack of funding is, the exchange of students. So the practicals will continue for the Greek students in Marathon, for the Czech students in Brno, for the Italian students in Basilicata. The only thing we do not have is, the funding for the 5 students from Italy to come to Marathon and so forth. But the practicals continue in our excavations. And actually, since Professor Kamea asked us to say something about our experience, this year, I mean, the Greek students who are here and followed this year's marathon excavations, actually, they had the opportunity to see some of the things we adopted for Denmark, to see them in the field and follow, especially those that had already followed the course. It was much easier for them to follow the practicals happening in the excavation. And actually, this is my experience, and this is the advantage, speaking like a tutor now, as a tutor now, the fact that I had students that were better prepared than before, which allowed me to do my job as a tutor, as a professor in the field, much better than before. One of my main, not only myself, but also Professor Voloranakis, who were saying we have the responsibility in the excavation, is how to deal with 40, 50 students every year in the excavation and teach them all these basic competencies and knowledge about digital technology in excavation. My experience from that helped me a lot to facilitate this much better in the excavation. So data continues, okay, not with exchange of students, but the practicals are there. I think it's a great, it gave us the opportunity to change even the way we think about how we teach all these things in the field and in every field.
Thank you. If I can add something to what my colleague told you about this, is that we are in the frame of Erasmus projects. So this is an Erasmus project, and we had the chance also to have Erasmus agreement between our universities. For example, we have already an agreement with the Capodistria University, with our university. We are built one with Mazarikova University. And in this frame, of course, all the students can come with Erasmus mobilities, also to participate to excavation or survey campaigns with Bed for Job, for example, also with mobility for students. So I think that this kind of project in the frame of Erasmus can be merged together to get the chance for tutors, for professors, and for students to continue the collaboration. And what about your question? Yes, we have a group, if I have a good understanding, we have a group who are managing with this kind of tools and this kind of approach, of course, in archaeological researches. And our experience inside the project with our team has been, as I told you before, very effective. Also because, also for us, now quite a bit different inside our archaeological researches. We have many archaeological researches with summertime and autumn, because we know kind of systematic way exploited during the project to face all these digital innovation technologies and digital philosophy focusing on archaeological methodologies. And so we try to apply this process in this systematic way. All the steps, all the modules are all the steps of the archaeological research, teaching this way to our students. And so I think that also our perspective in archaeological campaigns could be facilitated with the results, with the outcomes of the project. It has been very effective and successful for us. And what about continuing? Yes, the same words of my colleagues. We try, if it could be possible, to put this course inside the open budget catalogs of our universities, which means that it is on disposal of our students, of course. But my university asked us to build this kind of possibilities of open batch courses, which are more courses inside the formal offer of our university. And if it can be hosted in the Hellenic Open University, maybe we can offer this opportunity, of course, to our students to gain the ACTS, of course. But concerning the exchange and the mobility of students, I think it can continue better after this project.
Thank you. Just my reflection concerning the project. When the project started, I didn't know any of the colleagues I'm today with, and in the process during the project duration, I think we built a bond and we built a good friendship, and I hope that this kind of friendship will continue in the future in the next projects what we will build together. Also concerning the reflection of mine, as I told you, it was not only an educational experience how to build an online course, but also we as tutors had a chance to deepen our own knowledge. So it was not only a course for you, but also possibility or opportunity for us to go deeper into the topic, which we otherwise don't have time to study because of other work duties. So this is like my experience from Delta. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if you have any other question. No. Let's see on the chat. Okay, you can leave your question in the chat and we can ask that later if it's possible. I would like to comment also my experience before going on with the next presentations. My experience from Delta, of course, we were the coordinators of the project. It was a very nice experience for me because actually it was I had to remember again some knowledge and the things that I studied in the archaeology in the university back then, and of course to transfer in the course all the knowledge that I have from my undergraduate and postgraduate studies. So it was a very good experience for me also to contact and talk with other people that are in the platform, collaborate, of course, with new and for me very valuable partners and colleagues, and have the opportunity to to expand the knowledge for archaeology, digital excavation, digital tools, and in that way to help the future professionals in archaeology to make their jobs even better and easier. So thank you very much. And if you have any other questions or comments? Okay, so we will move on. This is the new session. We will have some presentations and speeches from the Delta ISP, the Intensive Study Program, the experience from the learners, from the students that actually participate in the joint excavation and coming from Greece, Italy, and Czech Republic. So I would like to welcome first the Greek team. The first speech would be by Helen Gourouleti, George Stasopoulos, and George Jufres. They're undergraduate students of archaeology from the Department of History and Archaeology from the National Kapodistia University of Athens. So I would like to welcome first George Jufres or Stasopoulos. You can decide first to go and welcome you to the podium, and then Helen Gourouleti is online, so we will hear her afterwards. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. In the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you about my experience in the Delta course in which I participated last year as a student. The Delta course was divided in 4 modules. Each module contained 4 to 5 units. At the end of each unit, there was an assessment based on information that had previously been taught. The difficulty of studying and understanding information and digital methods that were new to me was reduced by the learning material of each module. The time I had to provide every week was approximately 5 to 6 hours. Yet, this could be different depending on my free time or how deeply I wanted to go in each unit. Each student has the ability to watch as many times as he wants the presentations of the tutors or to read articles that they had pointed us out. Also, they had provided us with a handbook explaining further the topics of the unit. Much of the learning material that the program Delta taught me was new to me. None of the courses I had followed in my university focused or taught us about digital excavation methods that become further more popular in archaeology. Yet, this wasn't the problem, because due to the online presentations and later with a field practice, I became more familiar and I understood better what digital methods can provide in archaeology. At the end of each module, we had mandatory online lectures from the tutors. I find this part very useful because it helped me answer questions that had came up from a study and from the digital presentations. At those lectures, we had also the opportunity to participate in some exercises related to the learning material of each module with the help of the professors. Furthermore, I had the opportunity to participate in Delta Intensive Study Program, which took place last October at Plasi Marathon. This program lasted for 5 days. It included presentations, group activities, and field practice with the digital tools that we had previously studied in our courses. This program helped me understand better how to use the digital tools properly. Even though the program lasted 5 days, it was enough to fully understand the capabilities of the tools that our tutors presented to us in the modules of the Delta course. The fact that I saw how to use those digital instruments, for example, GPS, 3D scanner, so on, or in some cases use them myself, gave me an idea about the potential of archaeology by using these new methods. Some of the methods I had the opportunity to come across in other programs, but not use them myself. Additionally, it is important to note that because Delta is a project created by a collaboration of different universities in Europe, it gave us the opportunity to come in contact with archaeology students from different countries and learn from the experience of one another. To sum up, my experience from the Delta program was great. I learned about digital methods and tools and how those can be used in archaeology. Before Delta, I didn't fully understand how technology can be a part of our science and how important it is to learn how to use digital tools and techniques. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, George. For us, it's very valuable, these comments. So I would like to welcome the second Greek learner, George Choufras, to say a few words.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is George Choufras, and I'm an undergraduate student in National and Kapodistria University of Athens, studying archaeology. I'm here today to present and share my experience and thoughts about Delta course. First of all, Delta program was extremely helpful and important because it presented methods, tools, and applications that we have nowadays at our disposal and makes our job easier and more organized. The course consists of 4 modules covering the entire spectrum of archaeological science. It shows us the methodology from the pre-excavation phase to the excavation and post-excavation phases till the stage of public archaeology. At the end of each unit, we had to have the test, which was demanding, but the handbooks were informative and helped us to answer the questions. Also, the extra material was really helpful, especially about how QGIS works, how to create and use Kobo toolbox, and how to take measurements with the GNSS receiver. In terms of time, at the beginning it was difficult to study both for our university courses and for the Delta course. However, after the first month adapting with the platform and remodeling my free time, the program became easier to manage. In addition, Delta course came in direct relation to the seminar course, the evolution of excavation techniques from the beginnings of archaeology until the digital age, that we followed during the semester. In particular, the subject of our work was a critical approach of the field techniques used in various excavations in Greece. Through the Delta course, it became clear that the technological means we have now at our disposal could reduce mistakes and misinterpretation that occurred in the past and also save us valuable time in the workflow of an excavation. I would also like to mention the week we spent with our colleagues from Italy and Czech Republic, where we have the pleasure to participate in the practical application of what we've learned in the field at the University Excavation and Glass Marathon. This week, I would say, was the culmination of our entire Delta experience. It was also very important that we combine theory and practice together. We learned how to handle tools like GNSS receiver and geo-report position and points in the field, how to create digital models of a section with the use of photoscan application, and how to take photos with the proper way to create 3D models for the artifacts. Equally important was the fact that we came close with our colleagues that participated in the program. During this week and through the other activities, such as the visits to the museum and archaeological sites, we had the opportunity to exchange ideas and thoughts, both for our science and for our general issues of our daily life. So through this interaction, we were able to identify similarities and differences in the way that we approach our science. In closing, I would like to say that it was a very pleasant and productive experience that I had the pleasure to be part of. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, George. I would like to now join with online, so to see Eleni.
Hello.
So she wasn't possible to be here with us.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you see my screen? I'm sorry. I don't think I can't hear you.
Eleni, can you hear us now?
Yes, now I can. I'm sorry, let me share my screen again.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, fine. We can make it in full
great.
presentation. Perfect. Thank you.
So, hello everyone. My name is Eleni Vourouvleti, and I am a graduate student from the Department of History and Archaeology of the National and Capodistrict University of Athens. This presentation focuses on the experience of participating in the module Digital Excavation by Delta in 2021. It consists of 3 main parts and is completed with the final conclusions. Perhaps the greatest challenge that the participants had to face was trying to balance between Delta and their academic duties. In order to achieve such balance, the factors of pre-existing knowledge and time were crucial. The first thing to keep in mind is the fact that no previous knowledge was required in order to participate in Delta. However, as it is usually the case, depending on their familiarization with the topics, each participant organized their studies accordingly and chose in which chapters they would have to focus and dedicate more time on. Moreover, certain subjects, such as those discussed in modules 2 and 4, were already familiar from related courses taught in undergrad. The combination of the aforementioned defined if the available time given for completing each module would be enough. Overall, it seems that the deadlines were never too pressing because usually the presentations and the extra material provided could cover the entire topic. Additionally, the fact that the modules remained accessible even when the next one was already available enabled the participants to catch up and cover more ground in their own pace. However, given that Delta addresses an audience that includes also undergrads who usually lack the experience in applying digital tools in archaeology, it is possible that maybe some extra time would allow them to practice more even after the assessment and the completion of each module. In particular, the assessment success lies probably in the details, such as the compliance between material and tasks, the 2 available admins for the assessment, the absence of timer for submitting the answers, and finally, the fact that the result of the assessment did not exclude the participants from the project. Without these, it is possible that the whole process would stress the participants or even discourage them from taking part in the first place. For moving from theory to practice, Delta offered the face-to-face activities and an intensive study program on the department's excavation of the site of classic marathon. The face-to-face activities were virtual meetings among the students and the moderators at the end of every module. The most important part of the meeting was the opportunity for students to experience in real time and step-by-step the solving of a task by the moderator. As a result, they were able to share their thoughts or the challenges they have faced, ask for directions, and proceed to revisions. For this reason, I think that it would be really beneficial if those meetings were recorded and then archived as a guide. As probably expected, the peak of the entire experience was the field practice, where selected students from the collaborating institutes were asked to join forces and apply the knowledge they gained during the previous months. Each day, the tasks would change in order to cover all the topics taught, tasks that the students had to solve by working in teams, sharing their experience and expertise. A sense of trust and respect between the students and their supervisors made the collaboration even more productive. Keeping in mind the long absence from the field forced by the pandemic, I cannot imagine a more direct and efficient way of acculturating theory to practice. In my case, though, practice continued even after the ISP. Soon, I had the chance to come across these digital tools in several archaeological projects, both in Greece and abroad. This is perhaps the best way to describe the currency and consequently the success of Delta, as much as the need to include digital technologies to human studies in general. To sum up, Delta as a project might be considered demanding regarding the time one has to dedicate for studying practice, but more importantly, it can widen the horizons and equip the participants with skills they will definitely need in the future. That's all from me. Thank you all for your attention and especially the organizer for today's great event.
Thank you very much, Eleni. This was the first feedback that we received from the 5 students that participated in the program at Marathon Classic. So thank you, the Greek students, and for the presentation today. And we can move on. The second presentation will be by Filip Sevcik, David Vanacek, and Georgios Nestros Apatrotis. The two first are postgraduate students of archaeology. George is a master student of museology, but all of them they study at the Mazari University, and of course 5 of them in total they traveled to Greece and participated in the ISP. The presentation will be done by Philippe. Hello, Philippe. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, a little bit.
Do you see the screen?
Raise the volume, please. We don't hear you very well.
Is it better now?
Yes, a little bit better. Thank you very much. Welcome.
So
the floor is yours. You can start.
Thank you very much. So, dear colleagues, my name is Filip Sevcik, and I have been asked to present to you mine and experience of my colleagues with Delta course and the study program in Marathon on behalf of students of Maastricht University. Unfortunately, my colleagues were unable to join, so it's just up to me. First, I will summarize the Delta course in which we were participating in 2021. The course was divided into 4 modules. Those modules were dealing with multiple topics, for example, GIS, 3D documentation, photo documentation, archaeological experiments, etc. Each module was composed of individual lectures, which were based on combination of reading, watching videos, and testing. And after each module, there was an online event where we were able to practice our newly gained skills. In my opinion,
Sorry, Philip, is it possible to do it in a full mode for presentation? We see the slides on the.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
A full mode presentation program.
Sorry, I can't hear you
very well. We see the slides on the left part. Full mode.
I will try to share again, yeah?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry.
Is it okay now?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So I will continue. In my opinion, this approach was overall well balanced. Maybe I would appreciate a little less reading, but the reading was not 100% necessary, so I think it's okay. I highly appreciate the enormous amount of work which organizers put into creating of handbooks, which became a great source of information for me. Now I will summarize the study program in Marathon. It was held in late 2021, and the main goal was the transformation of the e-learning course into practical use. We were practicing our gained knowledge directly in the environment of archaeological excavations. To be specific, we were practicing on house and burial from the Bronze Age. Part of the program were also frequent visits of archaeological sites and museums. On the side, we were practicing our skills with RTK, GIS, we were making structure for motion, some drone documentation, and we are collecting archaeological data. I prepared some pictures from the program so you can see. These are the structures on which we practice our digital documentation skills, the house and the burials from the Bronze Age. On these pictures, you can see the lecture on using the RTK in different areas of archaeological research. On the left side, you can see the Italian/Czech team measuring the reference points, and on the right side, they are taking the orthophotography of the context. There are some close-ups on the context which we were documenting and the area where we were processing our data. On this picture, you can see the participants in the process of processing the obtained data from the RTK measuring and the structure from motion. And on this picture, you can see the lecture on drones and their use in archaeological research. In social aspects, the study program was a great opportunity to meet students and teachers from different countries, universities and backgrounds, and be able to share each other opinions and methods. We were creating international groups when we were practicing, so it was a little more challenging, but at the end, it was more beneficial for us. The whole study program was a great team building activity because we were all working, traveling, visiting museums, and eating together. To summarize the whole experience with Delta course and the study program in Marathon, I would say that I really appreciate the opportunity to practice the skills from the e-learning course on the real archaeological situations. I also really appreciate the opportunity to discuss with colleagues from different countries and be able to compare our approaches on different archaeological topics. Overall, this course definitely improved my knowledge and experience with digital technologies and their use in archaeology. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Philippe. Nice to see you, even you're abroad. So next, we will hear see a video that it was presented by Ms. Mariangela Maura. She's an undergraduate student of archaeology from the Department of European and Mediterranean Cultures, the same from the University of Basilicata. She speaks on behalf of the other students herself also from their experience, the Italian students, how they saw the ISP program in Delta course. So we will hear shortly their video.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mariangela Maura, postgraduate School of Archaeological Heritage student at the University of Basilicata in Italy. Last October, I and my colleagues Rita Cioffi and Claudia Marra participated in the incredible experience of the Intensive Study Program Week as the last act of the long journey of the Delta project. Although each of us had a different background of studies, skills, and interests, the common denominator was to treasure this experience, and today I will talk about this, retracing what were the main themes addressed during the days of the ISP week. I will focus on the suggestions and common impressions. The main themes on which all the activities have been focused are summarized in a few points. The digital tools used during the archaeological excavation, the digital documentation that takes place during the activities or immediately after, museology and conservation, or the direct approach with materials, the study and analysis through modern technology, and finally the concept of open-air museum and all the phases of public archaeology. By talking to the professor and our colleagues from the other partner universities of the project, we had the opportunity to share our experiences in the field. A heterogeneous picture has emerged. Each university works differently, and this has allowed us to expand our knowledge on the subject with an international view. The use of various tools, such as the QGIS software or the GNSS receiver, has allowed a direct and immersive approach, a unique opportunity to learn. We had the possibility to practice excavation following the careful instruction of the tutors, seeing with our own eyes innovative technologies that not all universities or institutes have provided during their research. In particular, we were very impressed by the drone equipped with the thermoscanner. Even when we addressed the second issue, there was a lively debate among all the participants. What were the different modalities adopted, comparing the advantages and disadvantages in each case. By conducting a group tutorial on the Copo Toolbox software, we were able to ascertain how much technology can help in a critical phase, such as data collection, without neglecting the importance of the paper documentation that can be replaced, respecting and reporting the criteria contained in it. The day regarding the third module of the course, created by the University of Basilicata, took place inside the Museum of the University of Athens and was one of the most engaging. We had the chance to see firsthand, in a very real sense, the artifacts preserved inside it, seeing closely what are the necessary steps that allow you to reach the ultimate goal, that is, the accessibility of cultural heritage. For example, we have been able to deepen what it means to study and store the materials inside the laboratory, the importance of a detailed documentation, and the use of technological systems such as laser scanner and photogrammetry. Divided into small groups, we each tried to reproduce through photogrammetry a ceramic artifact after having carefully analyzed and photographed it, following the instruction of the tutors. Surely, we were very impressed by the presence of a museum which attached conservation laboratory inside the university, an added value for training, fundamental for every young student of archaeology to practice getting into the heart of the museum activities. It would be desirable for all universities to be so. Finally, we learned more about the world of public archaeology, examining every aspect of it, point by point. From this analysis, the debate was a direct consequence. It came out as, in every country, this topic is defined and expressed, and how archaeology is perceived according to the various social categories. But the most entertaining part was certainly the group exercise, a moment of play and light-heartedness that saw the birth of many different stories, but all with the same common thread, that is to tell and entertain through archaeology. Thanks to the Project Delta, we have been given the opportunity to live an educational and enlightening experience, which happens once in a lifetime. We learned a lot during this week, putting ourselves in the game and collaborating with our fellow participants. In fact, we would like to emphasize how the human aspect is what has left a greater trace on this world journey. Forged links and friendships, laughter in company, speeches on cultural diversity, beautiful evenings between music and good food, discover Athens and its beauties. Especially after a long period of restrictions due to the COVID-19 pandemic, in which we were forced, in most cases, to stay behind a screen, being able to travel and get back on the field was a breath of fresh air that has regenerated us in some way, because in archaeology, practice is everything. We recommend the Delta Project to all those who study subjects related to the sphere of cultural heritage, since this course is truly formative in many respects. For these reasons, we would like to thank all those who worked and made this project possible. In particular, Prof. Yannis Papadatos, Panagiotis Polymeropoulou, Prof. Peter Todd, Antigone Calara, and the whole group of students. A special mention goes to our teachers, Prof. Soliani and Prof. Rubis, with whom we share many special moments, and to the tutor Ida Campanile, our guardian angel. I'm very sorry not to have been present on this important day, but I hope that this short video may have somehow filled my absence and that of my colleagues, explaining what this adventure has been for us. Thank you for your attention, thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye.
Okay, so now we're finished with the feedback received from all the learners. I think the last presentation by Mariangela actually showed all the things that, with the visual, with the photos, what happened actually at the ISP. It was a lot of things, not only knowledge and training, but also love and knowing new friends and collaboration with communication with the peers. So now that we have finished the first session of the conference, we will do a short break for a light lunch. You're all welcome to join in lunch, and then until 2 o'clock, and then we will continue, of course, with the very interesting presentations by our invited speakers, and we would like to see you next in the next session.
The lunch is offered in the ground, on the ground floor.
Upstairs.
Yeah, upstairs. The ground floor, that's the floor.
So, upstairs.
So, where the coffee was also served this morning for those of you who went there. Okay, so, yeah, we'll see you back.